So.
Can I get the final stat sheet, please?
Hey, Coach. I'll let you look at the stat sheet if you need to.
Go ahead.
All right. You've talked about tinkering with lineups several times throughout the season. One of the things I noticed that you did tonight is you let Luke Kennard play in the first quarter with the bench lineup instead of Terrence. Was that done primarily for spacing purposes with Rondo and Beverly and Cousins on the floor?
Yes. Talked with Terrence yesterday and today just about, who's going to go with Luke and give him a shot with that second lineup because we haven't seen it. And then also in the game, just, went with PG at the point guard position for a little bit, not a long enough stint to see. But just overall, we just, was disinterested with the game. I thought we didn't really respect the game, especially in the second half. No matter who you're playing, you still got to work on your habits. You still got to do the right thing. And, we talked about those guys not having ball handling. They have 11 turnovers, and we have 22 points, and they scored 30 points off of them. So we just got to be more professional in what we're trying to do and what we're trying to build here, no matter who we're playing.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Law.
I was going to ask you about the turnover margin because that's not a problem that was just a problem tonight. It was a problem Tuesday night. It's been an issue. It was an issue during the losing streak. When it comes to just respecting the game, are these just soft turnovers that you're seeing, or is it?
I just think just messing around too much. We got to be a more disciplined, more solid team. Which we have been all season. Just lately, turning the basketball over, just messing around with the game, playing with the game a little too much for me right now.
So we'll go next to Farbad.
Hey, Coach. Congrats on the win. There's a lot of great stories about this team this season, whether it's, the resurgence of Nicholas Batum, Terrence Mann developing and, the player that he is now. Is there something that's kind of resonated with you the most as the coach that you just, you're most proud of for this team now that we're nearing the end of the regular season?
Like I said, just proud of just how we hung in there, how we stuck together all season. Even through tough times, no one's pointing a finger or blaming someone else. That's the biggest thing. Just staying together, through tough losses. If it was 50-point loss to Dallas or a big win against, Phoenix, we just stuck together, stayed the course, we just got to find our rhythm. That's the biggest thing right now is just trying to, find our rhythm going forward, trying to get it back when we had on early in the season. And it's going to take a little time. As you saw tonight, first half, I thought we did some good things, but second half, I just didn't like the way we finished the game.
Thanks. Next, we'll go to Sabrina.
Hey, Ty. This was another game where Kawhi and PG had some rests together, and I was wondering if that's just a matter of Kawhi working himself back into shape, or are you planning on using that 5-man bench unit going forward?
No, right now Kawhi just can't play full quarters, so he can't play the whole 12-minute stint. So with that happening, it kind of messes up our rotations a little bit. So that's where we, insert Terrence Mann or Luke Kennard in that position, and they just kind of go from there. But once he's, cleared to be able to play, the whole quarter, we will go back to him finishing the first and third and letting PG play with the second unit to start the quarter.
Thanks. Next, we'll go to Mason.
Hey, Coach. You were talking about lineups earlier. One lineup that hasn't seen a lot of minutes this season is the Nico at the 4 and Marcus at the 5 lineup. Is that just something you're keeping in your back pocket maybe for the playoffs, or is there a reason why you haven't been going to it as much?
Well, I think with Cousins playing so well, like you said, he came in, was just trying to learn our system. But with him playing so well, we kind of turned it over to him a little bit. So we're going to get to that, these last 5 games, just having our small lineup and how we want to play. And we did a little early on in the season with the injuries, things kind of slowed down for us. So, we will get back to that.
Is there a certain type of team that lineup could be really effective against? You obviously don't have to name specifics, but a type of team that lineup works well against?
Yeah, it is. We saw we used it early on when we played against Utah, when Gobert was on the floor. Teams like that have big centers that kind of dominate the paint, blocking shots and great defensively. We can try to just stretch those guys out by going small. So there are a few teams that, like I said, that will be effective against.
Thanks. We'll go next to Claudia.
Ty, when you had Rondo and Cousins in together, you dominated the game. Do you plan to always bring them in off the bench, or could they be starting in the future?
No, bring them off the bench.
Okay.
Thanks. Next to Cam. Go ahead, Cam.
Hey, good evening, Coach.
Hello.
Good win.
Hey.
Coach, I wanted to also talk about the turnovers. You mentioned earlier in the season that you can excuse like 12 to 14 turnovers. That's just kind of what's going to happen throughout the course of the game. But you had an additional 10 turnovers, and you talked about messing around with the game. Could some of that be the rosters that they're playing with? Everybody's not comfortable playing together.
Yeah, I mean, some of that could be, being comfortable when, we come down and, dribbling too much or, trying to be fancy and cute. Like, there's just no time for, in the game for that. So, changing the situation of what we're trying to run and trying to do, you just got to just stay solid, Cam. And, when you have good teams, sometimes you can get bored and depending on who you're playing. But, we're playing for something bigger than that. And we got to work on our habits. We got to get our rhythm. We got to get our flow. We only have 5 games left. So we can't afford to mess around with the game. And tonight, I thought that was one of the games where, we got up early. And then after that, we just kind of, messed around, for the rest of the game. We can't do that.
On a different note, Coach, what is your approach to managing the relationship with the refs during the game? It seems early on they made some questionable calls, then they came back with some makeup calls. Do you get confused with the ref? Do you have a conversation with them throughout the game? How do you manage that process?
I try to stay poised, because I don't want to be a coach that's ranting and raving on the sideline and, complain about every single call, So, I got a pretty decent relationship with the referees because I don't say much and I respect that. And I know how hard it is to referee a game because I had to do it, one summer when I was a free agent. So I refereed the game with the professionals, with the pros down in Sarasota. And it's a lot of, it's tough. It's a tough job, but, they do their best. And I just don't want to be one of those guys complaining on the sideline because now your whole team's complaining and everybody's complaining and you just kind of lose focus on the game.
That's being a leader. Good job, Coach. Thank you.
Thanks, Cam. We've got time for one more. Go ahead, Miriam.
I'm just going to follow up on that. When you were a ref, what was the hardest part?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
When you did refereeing, what was the hardest part?
Oh, just like spur them. You got to make the call right now. Like you see it, you got to make the call right now. And, getting used to having the whistle in your mouth and making it right away and then seeing 2 or 3 plays, it's a lot, and they have their own section. The other referee have their section. The other guys have their section. But it's tough to see everything and call a spur of the moment. And, then you got all the guys, cussing and mad and recall. And, and nowadays the players are so slick. They're great at drawing fouls. They're great at selling it like they're getting fouled and they're not. So it's tough, So my biggest thing is the one they're very clear. And sometimes I might complain, but other than that, I just kind of try to stay even keel and let them do their job.